Hello YouTubers, you're in an all-new My Favorite segment, and today I'm going to be going over my personal favorite James Cameron films. This will be my personal list, so if you have another list out there, feel free to share it in the comments below. List your favorite James Cameron films, from least favorite to most favorite. Starting the list would be Avatar. I actually like Avatar, but it's one of those films without the 3D, where you don't feel the experience. It's one of those films where when you see it in 3D, it is an experience. It is something that's pioneering, something that just pushes technology even further with a fusion camera system. And the way the computer graphics are with the motion capture and everything is just phenomenal. I like Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana's performances in it. I also like Sigourney Weaver, and then the guy who played the villain, Ike. Yeah, he does such a great job in the film. But I just don't like it as much as the other James Cameron films. I don't know, it's just me, but Avatar is a very good film and very technologically advanced and really kind of paved the way for cinema in this decade with 3D films, at least for the first part of it. So Avatar from 2009 is a very, very good film, and I just like the fighting, the messages, even if it is a bit like Pocahontas and other stuff we've seen, Dances with Wolves, you know, it still is a very, very good movie. But it's just not my favorite. After that would be Titanic. Now, Titanic and Avatar, world's highest grossing movies when they came out, but they're maybe a little bit overrated for James Cameron in my opinion, but Titanic still is a pretty solid film. You have all the historical aspect, you have Jack Dawson, I like Leo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet in it. Celine Dion's song is fantastic, but above that, what makes this film very good for me is the effects. There's a very touching love story, but really the second half of the film I just love. I know it's horrible to say, I'm waiting for the ship to sink, but that's really what wows you in the movie. There's the spectacle, the effects, the tragedy. Also, the hidden message with social class in the film. Only James Cameron would be able to do that, and on paper this maybe would not have worked, but he managed to make it work into a very, very solid film, not only as a romantic film, but one of the best films ever made. I mean, it won an Oscar for Best Picture that year. Titanic is just a phenomenal film, and really just brings the magic of what movies are all about, with the effects, the cinematography, just everything. So Titanic is a very solid film. The Terminator from 1984. This is the film that started it all. James Cameron had the idea for this after being sick with the flu and having a nightmare. And wow, I had no idea this was really an independent movie. You also get to see early effects from Stan Winston. Fantasy II Productions. James Cameron used to work with Roger Corman, so he did like Piranha 2. So this is really like James Cameron's first, James Cameron film as the James Cameron we know him today. One of Arnold Schwarzenegger's early roles. Great performances from Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn. One of the few films where Arnold's the bad guy, that whole I'll be back, where he's like Sarah Connor, and then it's just like, hey, do you have a dead animal in there? What smells? And he's like, fuck you, asshole. I just love that part. The Terminator is such a great movie. And it's almost like a horror film, really. It's a horror science fiction film, but I just love that. The whole tech noir scene, burning to the third degree, oh my god, it just has so many crazy good moments, and then just to that climatic battle at the end. And then the arc Sarah Connor goes through. Overall, Terminator is a very original and just really entertaining film. I love the Terminator. I mean, it is among the best, and only James Cameron can make a Terminator film. It's different when you have a creator, director doing it, and he just knocked it out of the park with the Terminator. Above Terminator, I would list another Arnold film called True Lies. I love this movie. It's serious, it's a comedy, it's kind of a spoof on the spy genre as a whole, but I just love the relationship stuff between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis as a husband and wife, and just the stuff that goes on there, and also the more action-packed moments. A very different James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger film that actually works. Bill Paxton, as always in all the James Cameron films, plays a great part in this. Tom Arnold with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You have a cameo from Charlton Heston. Early role for Elijah Dushku. So yeah, True Lies is just an all-around fun 90s film. It's just you're fired. And he's like, Dana, grab my hand, Dana. I just love it. True Lies is just like James Cameron put it his best with action while also putting a spin on comedy, which is something you don't see very often from him. Overall, it's a very different and versatile film that I think has actually stood the test of time. It's actually gotten a bit better, and it's crazy with all the politics going on in the world, but I like True Lies. True Lies is just a fun film. and a nice homage and spoof of the genre. Above True Lies, I would probably put Aliens. Aliens is such a fantastic sequel because it does something completely different from Alien, but it's also James Cameron's version of Alien. He just basically made it plural aliens and make it a war action film, and that's what you have. Very different, and I like that because James Cameron knew not to replicate the first. You can't replicate it, but he did something completely original on his own that made it unique and have an identity of its own with him as a filmmaker. And doing this after Terminator, holy shit, it was awesome. Sigourney Weaver in this, Ripley, became a badass in this movie. She was getting there in 1, but this is a 1. I mean, that one scene where she's like, "Get away from her, you bitch!" I just love that. Michael Biehn's performance replacing James Remar in the movie, and then Bill Paxton's like, "Game over, man! Game over!" Just fantastic. Paul Reiser, oh my god, Paul Reiser plays such a bad guy in that, but the effects again with Stan Winston, the use of practical effects with like real footage, I just love it, because James Cameron basically films everything he can for real, and then just does other effects, the stuff he can't film, and just the use of puppets and animatronics in this is just fantastic, along with the film. And he always has like this blue type of tungsten light, like almost like a fluorescent lighting to his film, so you can definitely tell it's a James Cameron film. And he has that blue element here, and I just love it. The special edition's even better. Aliens is probably the best Aliens film, and it's also the best sequel that franchise has ever had, thanks to James Cameron. It's among one of my favorite films he has ever done. In the number 2 spot, my favorite would be The Abyss. The Abyss is a very underrated film, like a very underrated film, and the extended version with the alternate ending is even better. But yeah, you have Ed Harris there, and then a very, very underrated performance from Michael Biehn. Many people forget he's in that movie, but The Abyss is such a fantastic movie. Be the first time we see James Cameron delve into the ocean. I just love the use of effects. You have early CGI that later on help make the T-1000 and T-2, but The Abyss is a very different and unique film. It's original, and I like The Abyss. To me, it's one of my personal favorite James Cameron films, and probably one of the most underrated he has ever done, really. It's not as bad as a film as many people say, and I just love everything about it. It's a very different film. What can I say? It's a James Cameron film. I just love The Abyss. If you haven't seen The Abyss, go check it out. Then in my number 1 personal favorite spot is Terminator 2 Judgment Day from 1991. Not only is this one of the best sequels ever made, it's the best Terminator sequel, and probably the best Terminator film. I always flip back and forth between 1 and 2, but Terminator 2 just basically built upon the first film and did everything better, the way a sequel should do. Terminator 2 joins the ranks of like Godfather Part 2, The Empire Strikes Back, or The Dark Knight. It's one of the few sequels that in my opinion surpasses the original. Arnold Schwarzenegger back, but this time as a good guy. You have Edward Furlong as John Connor, Linda Hamilton back as Sarah Connor kicking ass, and then Robert Patrick as the villainous, just like intimidating, lethal T-1000. Oh my god. This movie is just great from beginning to end, and the special edition is even better. Oh my god, with the practical effects at the beginning. Stan Winston did some wonders, and with James Cameron, holy shit, that opening fight sequence in the future, and then that in the park. Oh my god, the motorcycle scene. Hasta la vista, baby. Just everything about that movie is so iconic. Not only does it stand the test of time, but it looks better than films now. It still stands up today over the Terminator sequels and other action films. No action film has really reached the level of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and the reason why is because James Cameron wrote a good story. He directed a great film, the cinematography, everything. It's not just a great action film, it's a great human story. There is a human story within the action. Very few directors can balance that very well. And James Cameron, to me, Terminator 2, for me, will always be his best film and my favorite film out of his, because it's like a drama, it's heartfelt, it's action-packed, it's scary, it's just an adrenaline movie. Like, it just has everything. It just has everything you love about movies of different genres into one film. And yeah, I love it. And who could forget that ending where she's like, "I know not why you cry," and he has to go down. It's such a sad ending that, like, maybe if a machine can learn the value of human life, we can too. There's a very heartfelt, deep message within this action film. And that's great because it's almost like horror films where you use a genre to really talk about something that's much deeper that you normally wouldn't get to do in other films that are just a drama or just like an independent film or whatever. So that's one thing I like. You use the genre of the action film to say something much deeper about the human condition. Anyway, those are my favorite films by James Cameron. If you like this video, click the like button and comment. Let me know your favorite James Cameron films in the comments below. And if you like, you can also subscribe to to more videos.